Dr. Brenda Connor is the Strategic Client Engagement Partner for Service Enablement and M2M at Ericsson North America. Brenda's here with us in Dallas at the TIA 2015 Network of the Future Conference. Hello, Doctor.
Hello, Deborah.
Tell us, Brenda, what are some of the main reasons why adoption of M2M technologies has sped up over the past few years?
Sped up is really the right question to ask because, of course, M2M has been around for quite some time. And that speed up has probably been due to many factors, but maybe I should touch on just a few here. I'll pick three of my favorites: networking, open information ecosystem, and public policy. If you look on first on networking, there we have with machine-type communications coming into focus in standards committees and lots of forums, there's been a focus with improvement trajectories around reduction in cost, improvement in battery life, and improvement in coverage. And when those things come into play, just a fun fact, they're looking on a 10x decrease in the cost for LTE modules. And that, of course, is going to have a factor for why M2M adoption is coming into play. If I look on the open information ecosystem, it used to be traditionally with M2M solutions were put in place to solve point problems. And so the business case around that point problem had to carry that adoption, that use, that deployment. But now with IoT, the Internet of Things, you now have multiple different information value chains coming into play. And those different information value chains have an additive effect on the business case for that deployment. Third is the public policy. And of course, having the right taxation types of frameworks and other public policy are important there. But if we can take some success factors that particularly around where Ericsson have been successful in smart cities, or some of our favorite examples in Brazil. In the Brazil public policy, they gave some reductions in taxation to enable or foster the M2M ecosystem. You can look on the GSMA website. They have a very interesting article around that sort of impact of the reduction in the having the right taxation framework and the enhancement or adoption of the M2M in their country. So I thought that's quite a good place to look.
Many along the value chain are working to enhance their service offerings in the IoT space. What is Ericsson doing to enhance its global footprint in IoT in order to keep up with the ever-growing consumer demand?
Well, that's a great question, because when it comes to global footprint and keeping up with the ever-growing consumer demand, that is Ericsson DNA. We do that every day, all day. And we do that with multiple different ways. One way we do that is our investment in our research and development. We also do that with our investment in such entities as our consumer labs and our ENCODE consulting practice to keep ahead of what is going on. And that all boils down to then a focus on making sure that we stay above, as well as that our customers then stay above. And I can't elaborate on the IoT aspect of that because, of course, that's our general DNA, but within IoT space, we also do things on multiple layers. We, of course, then deal with connectivity. When it comes to connectivity, we continue to invest in connectivity because networking, that's our favorite place to invest. Then we also then take in the open ecosystem that we've touched on already from before, but maybe with an example on the open ecosystem, take Maersk shipping. Ericsson with Maersk is covering the world's ocean and operating that network. But as we opened up that ecosystem together with Maersk, it allowed them to have not just their own uses for efficiencies within Maersk corporate itself, but also then opening up to the insurance companies that then could monitor the containers that are then on the ships and making sure that things are being done in the right way from an insurance perspective. But they also then were able to open up to the port authorities that were trying to deal with the efficiencies of the ports. And if you should take containers off the ships, when should the trucks come in for the container to be put onto the truck? So all these sorts of different information value chains then came into play with respect to that ecosystem. Then, gosh, you can talk about IoT analytics and what we are doing there. You can talk about the transformation and the professional services that then help to transform industries from M2M to IoT and opening up. And then, of course, let's not forget about standards, because we are here with TIA, and of course interoperability that standards then bring into play is an area that Ericsson has and continues to invest in.
Tell us about Ericsson's engagement in the EU research project IoT Initiative.
Oh, excellent question. We spend a lot of time with research and development. With the IoT-I, which is what it's known by in particular, that was a study that involved 150 applications that had strategic importance. And so there was a survey done to look at those various applications and determine which ones were the most relevant and these sorts of things. And interestingly enough, a comic book was made based on this. That comic book can be downloaded from the Ericsson Publications website. And it could be that a comic book is not a traditional artifact you would expect to see on Ericsson's website, right? But it's actually perhaps important to see that it is a comic book, because IoT, Internet of Things, is not simply a repackaging of M2M. It's actually a transformation and a mind shift. And so having a comic book as a reminder of that is probably perhaps something good.
Today, you were in a panel discussion with GM and Texas A&M on autonomous and connected vehicles. What challenges exist today that are associated with providing vehicle-to-infrastructure connectivity?
Oh, great. And just to highlight, you talked on 3 different connectivity options that come into play, right? You have the connection itself of the vehicle, and that's been around for many, many years. But then you have the vehicle-to-vehicle and the vehicle-to-infrastructure. And really the challenges that have come into play have been primarily the new ones around the vehicle-to-vehicle and the vehicle-to-infrastructure. And some of those challenges are things such as what sort of information can be exchanged peer-to-peer. There's also the regulations of privacy and who owns that data and the ability to then share that. So there's quite a few challenges that come into play, but you also see some successes as well that have come into play, in that you see autonomous driving vehicles. And then you talk about autonomous driving vehicles and you say, what additional public policy could that bring into play? Can it be my designated driver? Something to think about.
What is your vision for the evolution of M2M and IoT over the next 5 years?
Oh, our vision of the evolution of M2M and IoT over the next 5 years is well articulated with our Network Society vision. Ericsson has been talking about not only will things be connected, but when they are connected, how do they empower people in industry to reach their true potential? And so you can read more about our Network Society vision, of course, on our website, and more, I believe, at this conference as well. So we're very happy to be here, and we hope you enjoy the TIA conference.